Ask yourself this: why do so many men and women work tirelessly their whole lives, yet leave behind nothing? Why do the powerful grow wealthier while the masses drown in debt and misery? In this video, we will uncover 6 Machiavellian truths, the brutal reasons why most people die poor, and what you must do to escape their fate. Let us begin with the first and most fatal reason why most people die poor: the comfort of illusion. Understand this well: men would rather be deceived with sweet promises than face the harsh truth of their condition. The masses have always been intoxicated by lies because lies give them peace, while truth demands struggle. Most people are told from childhood that if they work hard, study diligently, follow the rules, and remain honest, success will surely come. They are told that virtue will be rewarded, that society respects the good, and that destiny smiles upon the obedient. But Machiavelli warns us the world is not built to reward virtue. The world rewards cunning, strategy, and those bold enough to bend the rules rather than submit to them. The man who clings to illusions lives like a slave without realizing it. He toils day after day, believing his effort alone will purchase freedom. But what does he find at the end of his labor? He finds himself trapped in the same cycle, working harder, yet never rising higher. The comfort of illusion tells him that patience will bring reward, but in truth, patience only allows others to run ahead of him. He comforts himself by saying, "Tomorrow will be better." But tomorrow comes, and tomorrow is the same. Men are deceived because they want to be deceived. They prefer hope to reality. Hope tells the poor man that if he saves for 20 years, if he obeys his master, if he waits for his chance, he will one day be rich. Hope tells him that the game is fair, that society is just, that fortune is blind. But fortune is not blind. Fortune favors the bold, the strategic, the ruthless. And society is not fair. It is designed to protect the powerful, not to elevate the weak. The comfort of illusion is the most dangerous of prisons because its bars are invisible. The poor man does not see himself in chains. He believes he is free because he is told that freedom exists. He believes he is climbing because he is told there is a ladder. But the ladder is false. The steps are endless, and those at the top have no intention of letting him rise. The illusion of fairness keeps him obedient. He does not rebel against his masters because he is told that loyalty is noble. He does not seize opportunity because he is told that patience is virtue. He does not demand power because he is told that humility is strength. And so he accepts his poverty, wrapping it in the language of morality. He says to himself, "At least I am good. At least I am honest. At least I am virtuous." But virtue without power is invisible. Honesty without wealth is ignored. Goodness without strength is mocked. And here is the cruelest truth of all: the rich know these illusions exist, and they cultivate them. They feed the poor man stories of hard work and honesty, not because they believe them, but because it keeps the masses docile. The powerful spread illusions like bread, so the people remain satisfied with crumbs. They keep faith alive, not for their own salvation, but for the control of others. The comfort of illusion is the opium of the weak. It makes poverty tolerable. It makes suffering seem noble. It turns chains into ornaments, convincing the prisoner he is wearing a crown. But when death comes, he realizes the truth. He has traded his life for nothing but promises. Most people will never awaken from this dream. They prefer the comfort of illusion to the discomfort of reality. They would rather die poor with hope in their heart than live wealthy with truth in their hands. Now we arrive at the second reason most people die poor: their fear of ruthlessness. Understand this: wealth is never given freely, it is seized. Yet the majority of men tremble at the thought of taking what they desire. They are chained not by others, but by their own hesitation, their own weakness, their own fear of being called cruel. The world belongs not to the timid, but to those willing to act with cold calculation. But what does the average man do? He hesitates. He asks himself if he is being fair. He wonders if he will offend others. He worries about being disliked. And while he is caught in the net of doubt, another man takes the opportunity that could have been his. Most people imagine ruthlessness as evil, as cruelty for cruelty's sake. But true ruthlessness is nothing more than the ability to place reason above emotion. It is the ability to do what is necessary, even when it feels harsh, even when it offends others, even when it stains your reputation. The man who cannot be ruthless when the situation demands it will forever remain a servant to those who can. Consider this: a man is offered a chance to rise, but taking it would mean stepping over a rival, perhaps betraying an ally, perhaps taking something another desires. He thinks to himself, "I do not want to be seen as selfish," so he refuses. But what has he achieved? He has preserved his virtue, yes, but lost his opportunity. His rival, less burdened by conscience, takes the chance, seizes the wealth, and rises above him. Tell me, what use is virtue when you are left with nothing? The poor man is poor because he fears the label of greed. He has been taught that ambition is arrogance, that wealth is corruption, that strength is oppression. He has been told that humility is noble, that patience is honorable, that waiting is wisdom. These are not virtues, they are chains. They keep him obedient, powerless, and poor. Ruthlessness does not mean violence. It means clarity. It means being able to cut ties with people who drag you down without hesitation. It means being able to seize an opportunity without asking for permission. It means protecting what is yours without apology. And above all, it means never allowing pity to rob you of advantage. The rich man is not rich because he was kinder. He is rich because he did not allow kindness to become weakness. Those who fear ruthlessness spend their lives waiting for permission. They ask for approval before acting. They fear stepping outside the boundaries drawn for them. But the wealthy man draws his own boundaries, and the world obeys. The poor man apologizes for his hunger. The rich man makes his hunger his weapon. Every empire was built on ruthlessness. Every fortune was carved from the ability to make hard decisions without trembling. Yet the common man recoils from this truth. He wants to believe that goodness alone will protect him, that patience alone will reward him, that kindness alone will elevate him. But goodness without power is exploited. Patience without leverage is wasted. Kindness without wealth is crushed beneath the boots of those who are willing to take. And so we see it again and again. The timid die poor because they fear the name of cruelty more than they fear the reality of poverty. They would rather live small, unnoticed, applauded for their humility, than live great and feared for their strength. They would rather be remembered as harmless than be remembered as powerful. Another reason why most people die poor is their dependence on masters. The majority of men live not as their own, but as servants to another's power. They sell their labor, they sell their loyalty, they sell their very lives to enrich someone else's kingdom. And the tragedy is this: they believe such dependence is security, when in truth, it is chains. Look at the worker who labors every day from dawn until night. He believes his wage is his survival, that his master provides him life. Yet who truly benefits from his labor? The master grows rich, builds empires, gains influence, while the worker earns just enough to return tomorrow and repeat the same slavery. The poor man tells himself that his master is generous for giving him work. But it is not generosity, it is exploitation disguised as benevolence. History has always favored the man who commands, not the man who serves. Princes are remembered, generals are immortalized, merchants are praised for their wealth. But the countless servants who built their fortunes are forgotten, buried nameless in the dust. Dependence condemns you to invisibility, to the life of a shadow, to being the tool of another's will. And yet most people embrace this fate willingly, because it feels safe. They fear the risk of breaking free more than they fear the certainty of being a servant. Dependence is a prison built on necessity. The poor man believes he cannot survive without the master, because he has never been taught how to stand on his own. He fears hunger, he fears ruin, he fears failure, so he clings to the crumbs thrown to him. But those crumbs will never turn into a feast. The master feeds his servant just enough to keep him alive, never enough to make him free. And let us not mistake this dependence for loyalty. Loyalty is a mask the weak wear to justify their submission. The servant praises his master not because he loves him, but because he fears losing what little he has. His obedience is born from fear, not devotion. And the master knows this. That is why the master never gives too much, never allows the servant to grow beyond his chains, because the day the servant no longer depends on him, the master loses his power. The poor man wastes his life serving others because he is told that obedience is noble, that service is honorable, that humility is sacred. But these are lies told by those in power to keep the powerless content. Obedience does not bring wealth. It only ensures that wealth flows upward, never downward. Service does not build freedom. It only strengthens the hand of the master. Humility does not protect you, it erases you. To depend on masters is to live in permanent poverty. You may survive, yes, but survival is not life. You will always rise only as high as your master permits. You will always earn only as much as your master allows. You will always remain a tool in another man's empire, never the architect of your own. The rich man understands this truth well. That is why he seeks to create, to command, to own. He employs others, but he himself is employed by none. He rents labor, but he sells none of his own. He may bow in diplomacy, but he bows to no true master. This is why his wealth multiplies, because he stands as master, not servant. Yet most men never dare to break this dependence. They dream of freedom, but shrink from the sacrifice it demands. They prefer the false comfort of wages over the harsh uncertainty of independence. They would rather live in chains with the illusion of stability than risk failure in the pursuit of power. They tell themselves they are safe under their master's protection, but in truth, they are trapped, expendable, replaceable. And when they are no longer useful, they are discarded without hesitation. Now let us look at the fourth reason most people die poor: their ignorance of money's true nature. The masses handle money every single day, yet they do not understand it. They treat it as a mere tool for pleasure, a passing reward for labor, something to be spent the moment it is earned. But money is not for spending, it is for power. And the man who does not see this truth will remain a slave to it until his death. Consider how the poor man treats his wages. The moment he receives them, he thinks not of preservation but of consumption. He buys trinkets, distractions, fleeting comforts. He measures his worth by how much he can show others, by the food he eats, the clothes he wears, the toys he collects. He believes wealth lies in possession, but possession is only the illusion of wealth. Real wealth lies in control, in leverage, in the ability to bend others to your will because of what you command. Ignorance blinds him. He does not understand that money is a weapon. It is a shield against dependence, a sword against vulnerability, and a fortress that protects your legacy. But to the common man, money is nothing more than a river that flows in and out of his life, leaving no mark behind. He does not save, he does not invest, he does not build. He only spends, and when death comes, he leaves behind nothing but debts and wasted years. Money is not meant to serve desire, it is meant to purchase power. With it, you buy influence, you buy time, you buy freedom. With it, you can hire the labor of others, expand your reach, and ensure that your strength does not die with you. But the man who wastes money on pleasure has already surrendered. He becomes a servant to his appetites, and appetites are the cruelest of masters. The wealthy understand that money must be multiplied. They use money not as an end, but as a beginning. A coin is never spent without the thought of how it can return doubled, tripled, multiplied, tenfold. But the poor see money as a prize, something to be celebrated when it arrives, something to be drained until nothing remains. They cheer when they are paid, but they mourn when the money vanishes, never understanding that it vanished because they never learned how to command it. Ignorance of money's nature is the reason entire generations are born poor, live poor, and die poor. Parents who waste cannot teach their children how to build. Children raised in ignorance repeat the cycle, believing life is nothing but survival, never realizing it could have been empire. Poverty becomes tradition, and tradition becomes destiny. And all because the true essence of money was never understood. To the wise, money is not gold or paper. It is control. It is not luxury. It is leverage. It is not for showing. It is for wielding. But to the ignorant, money is entertainment. It is a means to escape reality for a moment, even if that moment costs them their future. And this ignorance is so deeply rooted that when they see the wealthy, they think only of greed, not strategy. They envy the possessions, but they do not study the methods. They curse the rich, but they continue to act like the poor. Ignorance makes them careless. They chase the newest distraction, the flashiest purchase, the approval of others. They spend to look successful, not to become successful. And when the years pass and their bodies weaken, they realize too late that money could have freed them, could have protected them, could have built a life beyond survival. The fifth reason most people die poor is because they are slaves to time. From the moment they are born, they are taught to measure their life in hours, days, and years, and so they sell those hours to survive. The poor man believes his labor is his greatest asset, that the sweat of his brow is the path to security. But time is the weakest currency of all, for it cannot be multiplied, and once it is gone forever. Look at how the poor man lives. He wakes early, works long hours, returns home exhausted, and believes he has achieved something because he has exchanged his time for coins. But what has he truly achieved? Nothing more than survival. His hours are gone, never to return, and tomorrow he must sell them again. His entire existence becomes a marketplace where he sells the only thing he has, his life, piece by piece, until there is nothing left to sell. The rich man understands something the poor man never will. Time must be bought, not sold. The wealthy buy the time of others. They pay wages so that their own hours are freed, their own energy preserved, their own vision expanded. This is why they rise higher and higher, while the poor remain trapped in the endless cycle of labor. The rich man multiplies his reach through others, while the poor man shrinks himself with every day he spends working for another. The slavery of time is the cruelest of prisons because it feels like necessity. The poor man tells himself, I must work, I must trade my time, or I will starve. And yes, work may keep him alive, but it also keeps him enslaved. The wealthy man starves less often because he has learned to detach his survival from the ticking of the clock. His money works, his influence works, his enterprises work, even while he sleeps. The poor man, however, cannot rest, for when he stops working, his life collapses. Think of this. A poor man spends 40 years of his life working for wages, and what does he hold at the end? Perhaps a pension, perhaps a meager saving, perhaps nothing at all. His best years, his strongest years, are already behind him, given away in exchange for temporary stability. He sold his youth, his energy, his creativity, and when his body is too weak to work, society discards him like a tool that has worn out. He dies poor, not because he did not labor, but because he labored for time instead of wealth. The slavery of time is built on illusion. Men are told that dignity lies in hard work, that honor lies in labor, that virtue lies in effort. These are noble, sounding lies, useful for rulers, useful for masters, but destructive for the man who believes them. For what use is honor if it keeps you poor? What use is dignity if it chains you to survival? The man who labors endlessly may be praised for his dedication, but he is still a slave, and his master smiles as he grows rich from another's exhaustion. The rich man seeks to own time. He invests so his money grows even when he sleeps. He builds systems that function without him. He surrounds himself with people who trade their hours for his vision, and thus he multiplies himself 100-fold. He may live the same 24 hours as the poor man, but those hours produce 10 times more, 100 times more, because he has learned never to sell his life 1 hour at a time. The tragedy of the poor man is that he does not see this trap. He takes pride in how many hours he works. He believes sacrifice will one day free him, not realizing sacrifice has already stolen his freedom. He worships labor as if it was salvation, not realizing it is the very chain around his neck. He dies believing he was virtuous for working hard, never questioning why all his labor built empires for others, while his own family inherited nothing but exhaustion. The sixth and final reason why most people die poor is their failure to think generationally. The poor live only for themselves. Their vision extends no further than their own desires, their own pleasures, their own brief existence. They spend their money, their time, and their energy on satisfying the moment, never planting seeds for the future. And when they die, their name dies with them, their wealth evaporates, and their children inherit only poverty. The rich, however, think beyond their lifetime. They understand that true wealth is not measured in what you consume today, but in what you preserve and pass on tomorrow. They see their money as a foundation, their power as an inheritance, their name as a legacy to be carried forward. A man who thinks generationally does not measure success by his comfort, but by how far his descendants will stand above his enemies. Look at the poor man. When he earns money, he spends it quickly, seeking pleasure in the moment. He buys things that fade, experiences that vanish, comforts that perish. He does not think of his children, nor his grandchildren, nor the centuries to come. He does not ask himself, how can I ensure my bloodline is secure long after I am gone? Instead, he lives as if he were the last link in his chain, and when he dies, the chain breaks. The failure to think generationally condemns entire families to cycles of poverty. Each generation begins again from nothing, struggling, surviving, repeating the mistakes of their fathers. No foundation is built, no wealth is preserved, no power is passed down. And so the family line remains weak, forgotten, insignificant in the grand theater of history. Meanwhile, the man who thinks in centuries builds something immortal. He acquires land, businesses, influence, and he passes them on. His children begin where he ended, not at the bottom but halfway up the mountain. They climb higher because they were not burdened by the weight of poverty. His grandchildren inherit power that multiplies, and with each passing generation, the family rises while others vanish. This is how dynasties are born, how empires are sustained, how names live on long after the body has returned to dust. The poor mock the rich for their obsession with inheritance, but this mockery is nothing but envy disguised as virtue. The truth is simple. If you do not build for the future, you have lived in vain. To die with wealth you consumed is to leave nothing. To die with wealth preserved is to live forever through those who carry your name. The failure to think generationally is not only financial, it is also spiritual, intellectual, and strategic. The poor man does not pass on wisdom because he never sought it. He does not pass on strength because he never built it. He does not pass on wealth because he never understood it. His children inherit his ignorance, his weakness, his dependence. And so the cycle repeats. Generational poverty is not an accident. It is the direct result of short-sightedness. A man who thinks generationally lives with discipline because he knows his choices echo beyond his own life. He restrains his appetites. He calculates his moves. He sacrifices comfort so that his descendants may inherit greatness. He knows that to consume everything now is to starve his bloodline later. He knows that to think only of himself is to kill his family name before it is even remembered. Most people die poor because they never ask themselves how their actions would affect the world after their death. They live as if the grave is the end, and so they give nothing to the future. But the man who is truly powerful understands that death is not the end of influence, but the beginning of legacy. His name becomes a weapon, his wealth becomes a fortress, his bloodline becomes a dynasty. And while the poor are forgotten in a single generation, his descendants walk the earth with the strength of centuries behind them. So why do most people die poor? Because they refuse to abandon illusions. They fear ruthlessness. They submit to masters. They waste money. They trade life for wages. And they fail to think beyond their own grave. Wealth, like power, belongs not to the many, but to the few who see the world without masks and act without hesitation.